What is going on, World Mobile Nation? Welcome to Dap Central. My name is Fareed. As a part of today's live stream, just like always, right, on our bi weekly live streams, we're going to be diving into everything WMT. Now, I'm not going to be here by myself. I can't do this by myself. I've got two wonderful co hosts helping me to get through this entire stream. First, let's go ahead and bring up Rob today. We typically bring up the other guests first, but Rob LLAP, welcome aboard. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Great. I'm glad to be here. It's nice to chat with you again. And I'm looking forward to just talking about World Mobile and being with my friends on this.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I know there's a little bit for us to dive into. We just got the release of a brand new dev diary, and so we're going to be breaking all of that down. And there's also been some recent announcements from the team over the last 48 hours, which have been extremely bullish. And then I've also got something that I didn't mention in the show notes or backstage that I may want to jump into if I can actually get the platform to work. So I've got a little bit of a teaser there, which I don't think you've even heard or seen yet. All right, let's go ahead and bring in the second guest here. That's going to be none other than Clover Knows. Cal, welcome aboard. How you doing?
Ooh la la, I like teasers. Nice to have you guys. Thanks for everyone that's tuning in. It's a beautiful Saturday for me, morning over here. It's a rainy day, but I'm excited to be here. I'm happy that I'm inside the office here today, talking about World Mobile, not outside in the rain. So good to have everyone and see everyone.
It's always a pleasure to have you here again. Both of you guys bring a ton of insights to these chats. Now, we've got quite the crew here tuning in extremely early. We've got BeamNode tuning in, the Web3 Cat, official member of the actual World Mobile team. We've got Outback Earth Notes tuning in. What's going on? We've got Jeff, OG, here. What's up, Jeff? We've got Mark Byers tuning in from Australia. We've got Brody Alden, Ashtony. We've got, let's see, Kinnico, Jefferson. Man, we've got a huge crew today. And we also even got Lolo. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in.
I see the space lady as well. Kristen, how you doing?
Yes. I didn't see her.
Space
Kristen.
lady herself.
Thank you. The streams are growing, very well. Again, we do these bi-weekly, trying to bring you guys all of the latest and greatest news surrounding World Mobile. As always, we're going to kick this off here with the traditional sort of agenda. We're going to take a quick look at WMT Scan, touch on some of the potential changes that we've all noticed over that particular platform. And then we're going to jump into some of the recent deployments with respect to air nodes. We just got a whopping 72 air nodes deployed. I want to say that was in Pakistan. And then right before that, we had a couple that were also deployed in Zanzibar. After that, we've got, again, the full breakdown of the development report that was just released. And then we're going to chat a little bit about some of the EN sales as well. Now, Rob and Cal are both World Mobile ambassadors. They are just fresh off of a recent ambassador call. So I want to let them also share some of the excitement, right, that is in the air in anticipation of some pretty big features here as well. So without any further ado, let me jump on to WMT Scan, and we're going to just take a look at some of the recent growth here with respect to World Mobile. Now, I did break this down in a separate video. Of course, we now have air nodes deployed, not only in Zanzibar, Pakistan, but also within Reno, Nevada. If we take a look here at some of the network consumption, over 7.36 terabytes consumed in the last 24 hours, with now over 60,000 users. This is the first time that I've personally seen it over 60,000. You guys feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Could this potentially be a brand new all-time high with the network up for over 625 days? Any comments so far?
It also it hit over 8 terabytes yesterday. Somebody posted a screenshot. So we're seeing very high network consumption. We've talked about this previously with we do these shows on the weekends, and I think sometimes weekends might be some downtime for the user content just for various reasons in the different locations. But we saw over 8 terabytes, well over 60,000 users. Yeah, it's growing. It's growing. And I don't even think those are the accurate numbers. I think that's just what's being displayed on what they've publicly posted for those air notes.
Yeah, that's actually something that I have a question, maybe just something we can expound on very quickly. As I understand it, right, what we're seeing right now on WMT scan may not always actually be the full picture in the sense that we might still have other actual air nodes that are deployed, for example, within the United States that just aren't publicly visible yet, right? So these numbers could actually be much higher than what's visible right now on WMT scan.
Yeah, well, we know of the Mav 100 guys, and they're definitely deploying some things up in Washington. I mean, we see it from their posts on X. So I'm excited to see those notes go up for sure. And you know, it's funny. I used to write, and I just started again actually 4 months later. I used to write World Mobile threads and kind of break down things that happen every week with World Mobile. Took a little break around the holidays, but I started doing it again. And I posted something in my thread, which kind of like blew my mind because the last time I wrote a thread, that was like I said, 4 months ago, and it looks like the total air nodes when I wrote the thread was like around 400. And right now, if you look at WMT scan, I mean, they're sitting at, I mean, 1,318 nodes. I mean, that's crazy to me. That's like 800 plus increase right there. You know, it to me, it's funny when the team kind of, goes quiet for a little bit and they don't release any air notes or any like updates as far as WMT scan. And sometimes, the community and Telegram, they get a little antsy of things, but this is when I get excited about things because when the team goes quiet, I get super excited because I know what's coming and some heat's coming. So I mean, we saw the most recent like Pakistan nodes, and that was like a big jump right there. Um, we haven't seen that many air nodes released at once, so that was very exciting for me to see.
Yeah, again, I think without a doubt, Pakistan will definitely be hitting 1,000 air nodes deployed. I personally think way well ahead of Zanzibar. The speed of the rollouts there have been super impressive. Seems like World Mobile's presence is definitely appreciated as the network continues to grow, and they are now becoming, I would say, the leader when it comes to just adoption for the network overall. Again, now that we're expanded over into 3 separate continents. Now, I think what Clover was alluding to there was the actual release of the 72 air nodes within Pakistan. And again, the team's been somewhat quiet between this call and our last live stream, right? But when it gets quiet, this is when you get some of these big updates. So it's not always that the team has to put something out there, for us to understand that things are being worked on in the background. But I'm sure that over the span of those past 2 weeks, these are being deployed. And so I know that the team's got a lot on their hands, but it's really good to get some of these updates every once in a while. Now, let's maybe just kind of pivot over very quickly into the EN market. As it stands right now, between our last live stream and this live stream, very surprising, only one single EN NFT has actually been sold, and that was for a 61,000 ADA price tag. And so, if we take a look here at the entire sales timeline for these EarthNode NFTs, of course, once the NFTs were actually released, that was when there was a lot of hype around these NFTs, a lot of actual volume coming in. I want to ask both of you guys a question. In the past couple of weeks, there's been less purchases on the open market, but there's also been less and less listings with less than 1% of the total supply of Earth nodes currently listed on the market. So are you guys maybe of the mindset that there's just nobody willing to list? Is it maybe somewhat of a demand kind of thing? Because again, I can definitely see these things being valued at a much higher price once the actual mainnet comes online. And if we only have 1% listed now, do we begin to see a huge supply shock where we might even get NFTs being delisted when there's actual utility, as opposed to right now where again there's only less than 1% already available? So I want to get your guys' thoughts surrounding what you guys see potentially happening in the future with some of these NFT sales.
Well, let me ask you a question, Fareed. So you have an Earth node, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Cal, you have an Earth node.
I have more than one.
Would either of you consider selling your Earth node?
Not right now.
Would you
No,
consider
sir.
selling it at that price?
Not right now.
No.
Big no.
Not before the mainnet.
I mean, if ADA was $3 right
Mhm.
now, and you wanted to sell it for 70,000 because you wanted to pay your house off or something, I mean, would you guys consider selling your Earth node at all, let alone at these prices? I think what you're seeing here, you're not seeing people that are listing the Earth nodes that they bought at the auction, that they bought on the secondary market. You're seeing these ones come up. I think what is it? Number 75 is listed right now, and or at least, yeah. So 56 is listed. 75, just that's the one that sold for 61,000. Those have never been sold before. Those were originally those weren't even auctioned. Those were the original owners of those things. So they put it down in order to get it that low. They got it at the token generation event when WMT was 20 cents. So they paid basically $20,000 to get that, and they reserved it that low. The amount that they've earned by holding the Earth node, the reservation from the original pre-reservation days, they're making these early ones under 100 are making a lot every month, in early rewards. And then we went to rewards part 2, where you're getting basically 2,000 WMT per month to hold this stuff. These guys have been holding this for well over a year and a half. They've probably made, especially with those numbers, you're probably looking at 60, 70,000 WMT that they have made by holding it since that early reservation, because they got in early. When I got my reservation, number one, it wasn't at the token generation event. It was when you could buy WMT here in the United States, and you're paying minimum 50 cents a token for it. And I have a number in the 700s. I didn't earn number one, the length of time, but also those earlier numbers, like you're seeing, they earned a ton more because they were the first ones to get it as a reward for believing early in the project. So these people that are selling now, they've probably made about what they've put into. Actually, they didn't put anything into it. They reserved it with the tokens that they bought. They didn't spend anything. They just held. So they've earned it. Now they're selling it for more than what they would have paid for it had they had to pay. They didn't. So I mean, basically at this point they're getting ahead. They're getting ahead. They're not costing anything. They're not taking a loss on anything like that. So it's not surprising when you're seeing some of these early holders. Maybe they're bored with it. Maybe they bought it because they know they didn't have the skills to operate it when they come live. Either way, they're getting out ahead. It's not like they're not panic selling. They're not doing anything else. So I'm shocked to see people wanting to sell these things, especially those prices. But if you do the math, those people are tens of thousands of dollars ahead of where they were. I think you're on mute.
I am on mute. Thank you for that. I was going to say that's a really good point that you raised there, Rob, because I don't see people being more likely to sell the more they are in profit, right? It just wouldn't make sense. So if they're already coming out ahead, I see the likelihood of the actual NFTs being listed decreasing, especially as we get things coming on mainnet and the actual utility is actually behind it all. I've got an interesting note here from another creator, Cardano with Paul, as well as the Web3 cat. Paul states, still have my Ian NFT from 10 seconds after they initially opened up the claim and no plans to ever sell. Paul, I don't think you're alone. Thank you for the insights there. And then the Web3 cat also backing him up, stating that, even with the current activity, right, there may not be as many sales as we initially saw. He's continuing to receive marked interest or an increase in interest, from people looking to become ENOs and air node operators as well, with the expectation of op-ban kicking off very soon. So again, not surprising as things begin to heat up. And just one thing to know for the viewers here as well, there's only 9 NFTs listed on the market right now. So if we just get a mere 3 or 4 sales, that will then actually shoot the floor price up all the way to 105,000 ADA, or about $50,000, right, as the cheapest NFT to get in on this particular protocol. So again, I think just looking at the numbers here, really showing that this community believes in the project, and this is just very well ahead of the actual mainnet launch. Let's keep things moving here. So we recently had a buyback as well, right? So the buybacks do continue. And as I was actually looking through some of the content before we jumped onto here, I noticed an interesting post which was made on January 10th. So this is a breakdown of the digital landscape and how it's currently evolving. So what we have here in this blue line is going to be Americans who are earning less than $30,000. And I believe this is per year. I could be wrong here. In this light blue line, we've got Americans who are earning between $30,000 and $100,000. And then in the very lightest blue, we've got Americans earning more than $100,000 per year. Now, as you guys can see here, this is showing the dependency that these different earning categories have with respect to smartphones and the internet. So we have earners with less than $30,000 having a huge increase here when it comes to their dependency on broadband and their smartphones, which I think could be the target audience for somebody like World Mobile. And so I wanted to kind of just share this with you guys, see if you guys had any thoughts surrounding these numbers. And then also, just speculating, right, as to whether or not this trend continues with decentralized protocols like World Mobile coming out to hopefully fix some of these issues. And do we potentially see an increase in some of these higher earners relying more on their smartphones and getting internet through that source as well? So I'll turn it over to either of you if you guys want to comment on this before we move over into the dev diary, which was just released about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I'll jump on. Yeah, I'm always interested when I see these type of charts, and I think this specific chart is very correct when it comes to these numbers. Especially like when I look at people here where I live in California, a lot of the lower income people here, they use these pay as you go plans, and they're a lot of the times they're immigrants that are just trying to call back home and reach out to their families, and things of that nature. So, yeah, a lot of these people will become World Mobile customers, in my opinion, because World Mobile is definitely trying to break into this industry and provide not only connectivity for people that are underserved, but also they're going to be shooting for lower than normal plans. So it's good to see these type of charts come online and just show that the demand for World Mobile is it's there. And yeah, that's all I wanted to touch up on this.
Yeah, I think you raised a really great point there. And just to even add to this comment that just came in from Jeff, imagine this chart with Zanzibar and Mozambique salaries added, right? So, again, this is only focusing on just United States. I wonder what this picture looks like and if this trend can be applied to other nations as well, right? Where we're getting some of these lower income gaps or these lower income earners who are potentially set up to benefit the most from something like what World Mobile is offering. So interesting point there that you raised. And I think the Web3 cat agrees with you on that, Jeff. Okay, let's see here. We've got the recent dev diary, right? So if you guys are not aware, once per month, the team does release their dev diary. If anybody's been following World Mobile for, over 2 to 3 months, I'm sure they've run across these. We just got one fresh off the press, and I want to touch on some of the recent updates. Now, keep in mind, because the team is continuously working and they don't want to lose their competitive advantage, there are instances where we're not getting the full picture here until after the fact on some of these dev diaries. So with respect to the Earth node team, it states here, additionally, they've implemented crucial fixes on the testnet to enhance its performance and reliability. And the team is persistently working on refining the off-chain code for staking, contributing to the overall development of this essential component. Scrolling down with respect to the native apps team, there's, I think, something that we want to kind of touch on here for a little bit of a breakdown. It states, this included fine-tuning the user interface and features of the iOS app, addressing platform-specific behaviors, and implementing changes based on comprehensive testing results. Noteworthy achievements include the integration of Esim functionality into the Android app, finalizing features for scan for points, thereby setting the stage for the imminent leaderboard launch. So I know that Clover has been playing around with scan for points. Before we dive into the eSIM functionality being integrated into the Android app, what's been your reception to Scan for Points? Just give us your honest opinion and your take on, how you see this being used and just what it's been like for you so far.
Yeah, so I commute to work every day catching a train. So I work in the downtown of LA, and I'm kind of living outside of the suburbs. So I commute with a train. So basically every single day when I take the train, I turn on the scan for points and I use it. So in general, I think it's an excellent idea to collect data for anyone that commutes to work every day or for whatever other reason. But the general idea behind it is that you turn on the app and then you start scanning, and then you with that is are helping World Mobile essentially um, identify these areas where air nodes could and would be installed essentially. So and that with that in that regard, you get rewarded back with some points that you can turn into any gift cards from the shop that they offer. I sometimes have to catch Ubers and Lyfts and God, I've talked to so many Uber drivers about this scan for earn points. That's like the first thing I get on the on the Uber, and I start talking to. I'm like, hey, do you want to earn some extra money? By turning your phone into a scanning device. For a new and up and coming telecommunication company that that's going to launch here. So yeah, it's really exciting. It's good to see that they're at the final stages of releasing this leaderboard that's essentially is going to kind of be like a gamification where we're going to have people that commute like me every day, or maybe they're just like Uber drivers, working that as an extra gig or whatever, turn on this application and be able to earn some extra income while they do what they do every single day, and that's driving. So I think it's an excellent idea, and I think it's going to be fun to see other community members scan and see how much actual points everyone has collected throughout this entire time that um, the team has counted these points, even though they're not showing on the app when you're scanning. They are being counted on the background, so that's going to be really fun to see where we stand.
Rob, I want to come over to you next to get your thoughts on Scan for Points. But before I do that, right, the more that we talk about these different aspects of World Mobile, again, the more I realize the opportunities that are being created. You raised a really great point there, Cal, with Uber drivers, right? They're already doing the driving around anyway. It doesn't hurt them to just turn on the app, be able to earn, and then do whatever it is that they want with those gift cards. So for their perspective, or from their perspective, it's a complete win. For World Mobile, it's a complete win. And so again, I'm not seeing any downsides to that. And then with the last thing that you mentioned, though, with the gamification, I don't know about you guys, but I'm just a naturally competitive person. And I think that competition really brings out the best in people and the best in um, service providers. You take a look at, for example, Apple and Android. They've kind of got like this battle going on, but what is it doing? It's producing a better product on each side of the equation. Apple does something, Android tries to outdo it, etc. That's just how competition works. And so with respect to Scan for Points, not only are you scanning and then being able to earn, right? But as the leaderboards come out, I can definitely see people that are competitive just like me really beginning to kind of crank up their usage of something like Scan for Points, which only helps to grow the World Mobile network. So I wanted to just kind of expound on some of those points that you made there, which I really agree with. So over to you, Rob. You also have an Android phone. I think you actually bought an Android phone specifically for testing Scan for Points. What's been your experience like? Uh-oh. It looks
You
like
now
we
now you're on
Sorry,
mute.
I had the
there
mute
you go.
on the computer and the mute on my mic. I'm kind of curious to see what those leaderboards look like, and not even so much the leaderboards. I want to see what the map looks like because, um, like Cal mentioned, he takes the train back and forth. It's a similar route. I live in a outside of a small town in the country. I work in downtown, and so I basically it's either I take the highway or I take the interstate, which is a mile south or a mile west of the highway, but it's a same north south direction. So I'm constantly hitting a lot of the same towers and a lot of the same things. And I know what there's more there for the points. if you're hitting new places, if you're not just hitting the same ones every time, but there still will be some benefit because you may be different times a day, different weather situations where those towers might be affected differently. But I would definitely like to see what the map looks like for what's been scanned. So I know, hey, if I need to go this, rather than I'm just going to drive detours and drive all around town to get to where I'm going, it might be nice to say, all right, this area has not been scanned at all. Maybe I can hit this a little harder. So I hope they release something that is going to show what that looks like a little bit. I want to mention though about scan for points. This is something I was thinking about and was going to talk about on the last thing you mentioned, and that was when you talked about the income disparity and the usage of phones versus other means of connecting to the internet. And we talked about, well, why is a higher percentage of lower income earners using their phone for all their internet? Well, maybe they're day laborers, or they're not in a position where they have a tech job, that maybe they don't need a laptop or a desktop. Maybe they can't afford that. I don't know, but you're going to see a lot more of this happen as people get away from, think about it. 15 years ago, you bought a laptop for college and it came with a DVD drive, right? They don't even make those anymore. You have to buy detachable DVD players to plug into your laptop. My desktop does not have a CD-ROM or a DVD-ROM anymore. Everything is going digital, and people are saying, well, if I don't need a desktop for a laptop or something, I'm only be using my phone. So you're going to see a lot more of that go. I think the percentages are going to go up increasingly for all the categories. But think about this, and this is specifically a scan for points thing, and also something that Mickey touched on in a tweet that we're going to get to in a little bit. But if you think about that, Cal talked about the people that sometimes they're migrants, they're laborers, they're lower income. They're using that phone, and they're paying on a month-to-month plan. They're paying in a way where they don't have, they're not getting the brand new iPhone and committing to 3 years with Verizon. They're usually going to go with, and I'm a police officer. I worked in the kind of the rougher parts of my city for a long time, and very, very rarely did I find people in those parts of town. And I'm not trying to sound critical or judgmental at all, but that had big plans with Verizon with the fanciest iPhones. Usually it was a Cricket, or it was something where you could go get it at the convenience store where you filled up on gas. You're also paying for your plan. So you're seeing a lot of I've personally seen a lot more of the people maybe in the lower income parts of town having those plans. Well, World Mobile is going to provide better service for that. World Mobile is going to provide better coverage for that at a comparable price. But here's the thing that really stands out to me, and this is something that I think we cannot stress enough. This is a sharing economy. Think of the benefits that World Mobile is going to be bringing to people that maybe they can only afford the month-to-month plan, or they don't have the fanciest phone. What they can scan for points, and those points can be used to buy Esims or to help pay your monthly bill potentially, right? There'd be the fiat onboarding ramps onto the apps to do that. Mickey talked about running a node from your phone. If somebody has a backup Android phone, they'll be able to run a node off of their phone that's going to earn. And now you're saying, hey, guess what? You don't have to have the fanciest phone, but we're going to find ways for you to earn, to help our network grow, and you're going to be rewarded for that. And if you're struggling financially to pay your bills, just keep your phone on. Go somewhere and keep it charged, and then go drive around and scan. Go walk around and scan. Get the node operational on your backup phone, and now all of a sudden, people have ways to cover their phone bill just by leaving it turned on in reality. And so I think the sharing economy, I think it really, really helps with a lot of that, and it's directly going to affect the people on the chart that are using their cell phones for all of their internet.
That's a really great point that you raised there. I want to maybe just ask another question, and maybe this goes to the Web3 cat, right? Not necessarily a question, but just a thought. So with respect to gamifying something like Scan for Points, imagine a bounty system where World Mobile is maybe able to say, hey, we would love to get, data in this particular region. Therefore, we're setting some sort of bounty where if you scan within this particular region, you maybe earn 2x points, 3x points, etc. Right? Where now you've got a whole community, right? That's charging towards a particular area to scan for points, and maybe those bounty locations move around as World Mobile's need for different data points moves around as well. So I think there's just so much here with the gamification of scan for points at the leaderboards is just the very first piece of it. So wanted to quickly touch on that there. Any maybe sort of closing thoughts or things that you want to add with respect to scan for points before we jump into the Esim integration for Android? And before I turn it back over to both of you guys, I just want to answer a question that we did get from Lolo earlier about iOS users. So for anybody who isn't aware, right now the global beta app is available for Android only. They are working on the iOS application version, which should hopefully come very soon. The Web3 Cat, you are here live. If you want to drop any sort of information that you can surrounding the release date, that'd be appreciated. But for anybody who is on iOS like me right now, we got to be a little bit more patient, but we will be able to join the party very, very soon. So jumping back, if you guys don't have any questions here, I want to jump back into the dev diary, right? And talk a little bit about the integration of the eSIM functionality directly into the Android app. So I know, Clover, we were chatting a little bit about this earlier. Do you want to maybe just kind of expound here?
Yeah, so at the moment right now, people that wish to purchase one of these eSIM cards, they have to go through the World Mobile website, and they have to activate their SIM card through there. And what the team is currently working on, and it's going to be releasing as a functionality, would be to simply purchase one of these eSIM cards directly from the World Mobile app and activate it from the Android device. So that would obviously simplify things. A lot of people are on the go when they want these eSIM cards to purchase from and activate, no matter where they are in the world. And that would be really beneficial, in my opinion. And I would love to see that in the iOS app. I am as well an iOS user, just like it looks like most of the people in the chat today are always asking when iOS, when iOS. But yeah, it's currently being like you said, Furry. It's being fine tuned. It's in the final stages. It's going to be released very, very soon. And yeah, I would also like to see the eSIM integration, which I'm sure the team is going to deliver in the iOS app as well. But in general, it's easier, to activate these things directly from your phone, and load it up from your phone and just activate it there, no matter where you are in the world. So that's going to be really beneficial.
Well said. Well said. And with the eSIM, right? Again, maybe we just get a couple of words from the both of you. I know, Clover, you went on a vacation not too long ago. What was your experience like? Getting access to eSIM and then also the coverage. Could you touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, so my dad actually went on to Europe over the holidays, and he downloaded an eSIM card, which was very easy to do, very simple to activate, and yeah, it's a matter of going to the website and clicking a button and ordering the specific package. The connectivity is very good. They have a partnership with different operators, depending on the country where you are. They use different roaming packages and different roaming agreements, and yeah, you just get connected to whoever the roaming agreement is with, and they use their coverage essentially. So no matter where you are in the world, as long as it's within those countries that World Mobile covers, you will be able to purchase one of these SIM cards, and it essentially acts as a secondary card. I mean, my phone comes with the eSIM already installed from AT&T, so you just activate it, and the cool part is that you can kind of like switch off both plans essentially. So um, if I'm here in the States, I can be using my AT&T card, and then if I travel to Europe real quick, I can just like turn off my AT&T card and not have to pay the absurd AT&T fees that they charge, which is like some like I don't know, like $10 a day or something like that, something crazy. And then I just turn on just my World Mobile card, and I use that while I'm in Europe for a trip, and then I fly back and I'm back on AT&T. So that simplicity of it, I really enjoy while I'm using the card. And it's going to be cool to see like country specific plans, and I'm sure that's in the works. I'm just speculating here, but it's going to be cool to see like a region, like a United States specific plan, so those prices can go down a little bit, or maybe I guess like a Europe specific plan. A lot of these eSIM offerings, they come with like region specific plans, so it'd be cool to see one of those, and I hope the team is working on one.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably are. Again, just kind of adding to that last thing that you mentioned there, I assume that the amount in the ways that people consume data within countries is completely different, right? With the United States, maybe there's more, focus on, entertainment or just like leisure sort of content. Whereas maybe in other countries, that's not necessarily the case. Therefore, maybe World Mobile is able to offer different plans, so somewhat, making it as efficient as possible for the countries that they offer services in. Rob, I want to maybe turn it over to you, if you have any comments or thoughts surrounding the eSIM and your experience. I believe you're also able to try it, but if not, we'll jump back in and continue pushing forward with the Dev Diary. So any thoughts that you want to add here for the eSIM?
I downloaded the Esim. I bought that Android phone, and I put the World Mobile app on it, and then I got an eSIM, and all I've done was scan for points with it. I haven't searched the internet or anything with it. So I'm pretty sure it's been 3 months now. I'm pretty sure it's expired, even though I never used it. I don't think I used any data on it at all. But it was easy to get. It was easy to get on there, onto an unlocked phone. And my favorite part about it was when I saw the little World Mobile logo, the little W up there on the top, saying that was the network I was connected to when I had the eSIM on. And so I thought that was really cool. But I'm spoiled. I'm here in the middle of the United States. I don't really have a need for an eSIM, as I have maximum coverage or close to. I mean, I have dead zones by my house, but I think it'd be a dead zone for anywhere. So I bought it. I tried it out from an installment standpoint. It worked great. As far as the coverage and how things work, I guess I'm pretty lame. I have not had the opportunity to travel overseas or to go to places where it was really needed. So I'm still very naive to the intricacies of it, but it was easy to put on.
Nice to hear. I appreciate the feedback. We do have a question from Simon, and I think the Web3 cat can probably answer that particular question. But he's asking, when will coverage be coming to Europe? If I'm not mistaken, there are some areas around there that were released initially with eSIM coverage. So, Simon, the team does have a dedicated Twitter page for the eSIM itself, and I assume that's what you're referring to here when you're talking about coverage. And that should actually list all of the countries that they currently support. So, if you're not already following the eSIM Twitter page, make sure to go ahead and do that. Of course, also make sure to follow the World Mobile Token page and the World Mobile Team page as well. Let's quickly dive back into the Dev Diary. So there's an interesting piece here that I want to get the both of your guys' thoughts on as well. So with respect to network nodes and the service team, it states the team persistently advanced the provisioning of air nodes, focusing on streamlining automated processes for ground deployment. Now, I'm completely speculating here, but I would assume that a lot of that testing might be going on in Pakistan just based off of how quickly we're seeing things roll out. Or potentially even in Reno, right? Because again, we're expecting to get more air nodes there as well. So I feel like either one of those two areas could be where the team is focusing on automating these processes, getting as efficient as possible to release these air nodes in anticipation of a growing network and a growing user base and just growing demand overall. Now, following that, it states rigorous testing of host owner matching was conducted within the AirNode sales platform or Opband. So again, it sounds like Opband is right around the corner. As ambassadors, I'm sure you guys maybe got a little bit of alpha there that you guys know that you obviously can't share here because of technical and just NDA reasons. But I'm really excited to hear that progress with Opband continues to move forward. Now, this is where things get really juicy. Simultaneously, progress on the commercial web app remained robust with preparations underway for an early release in the upcoming year. So I think this is when we begin to see massive growth, right? When we begin to collaborate with commercial companies for commercial adoption. There was a recent partnership with a platform called Clue. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and IMX, right? They're a company providing a ton of different microservices, and they have over 55,000 employees at Clue. And so to see a platform like IMX, partnering up to provide identity services and just the utilization of Cardano blockchain with a commercial entity, right? That just it opened up my eyes. We saw the CF also partnering up with a Brazilian energy company, right, to bring forth educational classes surrounding Cardano, and they had almost, I think it was 55,000 employees there as well. So when you begin to talk about commercial adoption, right, you're talking big numbers, and this is how the network effect really grows, is when World Mobile is able to onboard commercial platforms, commercial players, which give us access to thousands of employees in one fell swoop. So to see that the commercial app is right around the corner, I think is a huge highlight. Now, in closing, it states a key highlight includes development of a DID or digital identity extension, assuring secure authentication and an elevated user experience. Now, when I did have the Android phone a couple of months back, and I was actually testing out the global beta app, I did notice that they did support built directly within that wallet. But it also sounds like with respect to the commercial web app, they'll also be including some did features. So, anything that you guys want to touch on there with respect to the streamlining of annual deployments, or even the commercial web app or the did integration?
You want to jump in, Rob, or you want me to go in head first?
Go for it.
All right. So when it comes to the team advanced provisioning of air nodes and streamlining automated processes, I think they're mainly talking about like handoff services. So like when people essentially go from one air node to another, they use a feature called handoff, and then you can jump on one air node to the other, and that's what I'm assuming that's what the mention about is. But I would definitely want to agree with you here. I mean, we saw in 2023 we saw a ton of partnerships that were formed, and I expect the same level of competence and delivery from the team when it comes to partnerships in 2024. And I can agree that there's going to be a lot more partnerships coming in 2024. And I'm just speculating here, but when we saw the partnership with adaptive broadband, for example, here, when they're going to a wireless ISP, offering a broadband connectivity, and essentially being able to switch from just broadband to to being now able to offer telecommunication services. That's pretty big in itself, and I'm excited to see that all these partnerships that are going to be forming this year. So as far as the did extension, that's also something very, very interesting to me. The fact that you'll be able to log in and use any of these services without you having an identification, no matter where you are located in the world, would be something very interesting to me. Being able to join the World Mobile economy and all the value added services that World Mobile is going to offer. It's going to be something very intriguing to see as well. So I'm looking forward to the did extension rollout, and I'm looking forward to learn a little bit more what that's going to be all about.
Over to you, Rob, for any thoughts surrounding what we just talked about. Again, the speeding up of the air node rollouts, the handoffs, as Cal just mentioned, or the DID extensions.
Well, two about 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation with someone who is pretty deep into the planning side of this, and I believe what this is referring to specifically is Operation Air Node. I believe it's what's going on with the test market in Reno. I know that they are trying to get all the things fine tuned for the the launch of that with the services, you know, you find your operator and you remotely ownership of the air nodes. And so I think that, and I mean, part of it, you know, they beefed up their staff. They brought in Christian, uh, you know, Emmanuel and Charles are taking turns in Reno, going back and forth from LA. They're working a lot with James Tag and with Will, trying to get things set up. They've already deployed the 5 smaller air nodes that are there. We've seen pictures from Christian on his tweets or on his X account that he is testing different rooftops and different things. So I think they're trying to get elevation. They're trying to get max saturation. I think they're also working with the ability to buy to if you're going to be the operator. You know, the shipping processes and everything. Also finding people to do it. I know that they have several people that are going to be operators in Reno, and I don't think they're going to be individual folks that are just going to be doing one or two. I think I believe, I'm not certain, but I believe that they're finding, and as they should, you know, commercial groups to do this. This is going to be big. Imagine a city like Reno. We're going to have 3, 4, 5 Titans, and you're going to have thousands of these Earth nodes that are going to be up and generating that shoot, you know, 500 meters, 1,000 meters. Um, in order to max saturate that, you're gonna have to have a lot of I keep saying earth nodes. I'm sorry, air nodes. Um, you're gonna need to have several people handling this stuff. And so if you have a commercial enterprises, if you have a repair shop guy, you know, a handyman or an electrician or somebody who's more familiar with doing this stuff, the installation and the maintenance of these things. So they're looking for locations, they're looking for people that are going to be handling this stuff, and they're trying to get it all lined up so that when this Operation Air Node officially drops, and I'm thinking it's coming pretty soon. I think what's going to happen is we'll be able to go on and say, I want one in that spot. It hasn't been reserved yet. And we're able to say, all right, it's reserved. You got it. Pay the bill. And then, oh, by the way, we have an operator for you if you want. And I think it's going to be a very, very smooth, um, almost seamless transition. I think if that's how they're setting it up. I'm very, very confident what they're doing, but I believe that this is mainly a Reno as the rollout for Operation Aeronode, and then it's going to get much bigger as they start to swarm and deploy in different locations.
Those are some really great points that you mentioned there, Rob. For anybody who wants just more information, and I know we're chatting about the eSIM earlier, Rob did share this link with me, so let me just go ahead and just highlight it. You can head over to esim.worldmobile.io. And again, you've got everything that you need to know about the eSIM coverage area, etc. And so I did see a couple more comments here coming in from Steven. Let's see here. So he basically states, let's see here. Yes, most of Europe and UK is covered, but wow, it's an expensive service, you guys. I think Rob and Clover have actually both spoken about this, right? This isn't meant to be your everyday sort of data provider. Like this is meant as a fallback, or in the event that somebody's traveling to an area that, you know, they would normally be charged more for with their current provider. This is somewhat of a backup solution. So do keep that in mind, Steve. And then also keep in mind, you know, the network is still in its early days. As there's more services, as the team refines things, I would assume that they'll also take into consideration, you know, lowering some of the prices for some of these services. Again, not a guarantee, but just some speculation on my end there. So, you know, again, we got a follow from Steven. When will this get cheaper? I'd like to switch to Help World Mobile, but it's triple the cost for 50 gigabytes of data that I pay for 180 gigabytes for. So again, maybe Rob and Clover want to chime in here. I know that we've touched on that before, but
Yeah.
anything that you maybe want to add there?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you want to go first or want me to?
I'll go in. I mean, that's what I just mentioned, like a little bit previous, where I wanted to see like a region specific card where you would be able to have a cheaper service, which is most likely currently being worked on. But like Fareed said, this is a travel card, so it's meant for traveling when you go to different locations, that you would normally have to turn on roaming service and pay not triple, but maybe like 5 times more the price that you would be paying for World Mobile. And the cool part about it, though, Stefan, to answer your question, is that when you buy your travel card, you not only get service in the UK, but let's say you want to take a little trip to Italy, and you would just turn on your eSIM card in the UK, and then once you get to Italy, then you still have that same eSIM card, and you still have that data, running through the World Mobile Network. So that in itself, I think it's a good proposition. But I do agree that pricing will come down once you start seeing, that region specific or that continent specific eSIM card that should be released.
Thank you, Rob. Any sort of closing comments with respect to that?
Yeah. Well, this is something that I'm very, very interested in from a long-term user standpoint. I see the eSIM users as consumers. You're consuming the network for a short time. I don't see them as customers, simply because you're only using it for a specific purpose. Um, I asked specifically because we had as you mentioned earlier, we had an ambassador call. Uh, Mickey was on there, and Emmanuel was on there, and um, Antonio and Mike, and we I asked specifically. I said, "Will there be something where you can buy into a plan where you pay for, not a month, not an eSIM to eSIM thing, but an actual, um, maybe buy a year plan and get a discount, or you're paying month to month, but it's not, oh crap, my 10 gigabytes on my eSIM ran out 3 days in because I was streaming a couple of movies, and now all of a sudden I have no data plan for the rest of the month. When will there be a ability to turn on customers and not just eSIM consumers? And they said absolutely. Absolutely, there'll be voice, and there'll be regional and national plans for for this. So you're not having to buy an eSIM. You're literally setting up an account and becoming a customer, and not just an eSIM consumer. That's coming. And I've been very public about this. Even if I don't have any air nodes in my area, the moment it turns on for the United States, my family is leaving AT&T, and we are going to be the first World Mobile subscribers and customers in Iowa. And so
Okay.
that's happening. Mickey knows it's happening. I've already threatened it. I mean, promised it. So,
You're
so
threatening AT&T.
right. I'm a bit scary there. So, Stefan, for what you're asking, yes, there will be that's coming. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be, I think, better quality, better service at a cheaper price than you used to anyway overall. And again, it'll be regional or nation, or in some places with the EU, maybe continent specific, potentially. But yes, that's going to get better.
And not
All
only
right.
that, but I wanted to jump in there and say a lot of people don't realize that when they buy these pay-as-you-go plans, or even when you jump on like the Helium plan that they just announced, you're not really using the Helium network per se. Um, e- Even with these like pay-as-you-go plans, you're technically using T-Mobile's network. So that's what you're roaming on top of, and that's what you're using. They all have agreements with T-Mobile, and they use their network. So as that company grows, and we've seen it time and time again in the United States, when these companies get big and their customers grow to a certain extent, T-Mobile just goes ahead and purchases that company and takes their customers back to T-Mobile just because that company is getting too big. Now with World Mobile, we don't have to worry about this thing, right? Because World Mobile is growing their own network, right? That's what we're seeing in Reno, and people will be able to have a way cheaper plan when they're roaming on top of these air nodes, specifically in Reno. We're going to start seeing all these plans come out in the United States, and it's going to get much more affordable, and then you don't have to worry about, that T-Mobile is going to come over and buy World Mobile, for example. I mean, it's all decentralized own network, so that can, never going to happen. That's a huge benefit that people don't really talk about, and that don't know that these companies are technically contracted under T-Mobile. So that's something important to note here.
I actually was not aware of that. That sounds like extremely predatory behavior, right? Buying out the competition before they can be big enough to overtake you. So to know that World Mobile is positioning themselves in this way to not fall in that sort of situation, I think is a huge thing to note. So again,
Well,
everybody, if you get,
and
go
just
ahead, go ahead.
Like Hal said with that, Mint Mobile was purchased by T-Mobile. Cricket back in the day, that was on every street corner was Cricket. Cricket was purchased by AT&T. Um, you're seeing all these, what is it? US Cellular, not US Cellular, US Mobile or American
Boost
Mobile.
Mobile.
It's the one that they sell at Walmart. Again, they have no towers. They rent space and they piggyback off of these things. But Walmart has the bulk and they have the customer base. So they sell these things real cheap. Again, these are like middlemen companies that are using the infrastructure for the big dogs. And World Mobile's positioned itself to have all those partnerships with people so they can use all the towers, but by setting up the air nodes, they are able to have their own coverage areas, so they're not paying so much and they're paying more into the sharing economy. But like Paul said, I mean that's what Microsoft does. That's what Apple does. Apple buys up intellectual content. Microsoft goes and buys up all these small startup software companies. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer decided to start up the internet, and Bill Gates came and roughed him up, and because he was the internet king or whatever it was, and he didn't even know what the internet was, but Bill Gates and some henchmen came and beat up Homer Simpson. Um, and so we're buying you out for $10 or something like that. So that's what these, like you said, the predatory things. That's what happens in technology. That's what happens with a lot of these big businesses. And for I've asked Mickey about this specifically. I said, "Hey Mickey, what happens when you get some investors that say, 'Hey, we want this to go public. Are you going to release a stock?'" I said, "What happens when somebody comes at you with $2 billion and says, 'Hey, we want to buy your network from you?'" And Mickey goes, "Number one, my son would kill me if I ever sold anything that I have from World Mobile." He said, "My son wants to inherit this when he grows up." But Mickey has said we are positioning ourselves just to not just to we are positioning ourselves to be bigger than that. Whereas they need us, but we don't need them, kind of a thing. And that really fires me up. That like so the vision is beyond. Can we start up a company and take it public and then cash out? That's not what they're doing. They're not so short sighted there. Um, and you've seen that with Cricket. You've seen that with Mint Mobile. You've seen that with many of these others. That's the goal. Let's do something that's going to get some attention, make us some money, and then sell out.
Yeah, not a good position and not a good approach, I think, towards operating a business, especially something that you built from the ground up. So I think again, World Mobile is in an extremely different position, and I'm happy to be here this early on in the ride before things have actually gone mainstream, right? Um, yeah, just being here with some of you guys, had Rick Middleton on, a lot of the OGs within this community. I wanted to just plug this in earlier. If you guys are not already following Clover and Rob on Twitter, please, guys, make sure to go ahead and do so. Their links to their Twitter are down below as a part of today's video description. Super knowledgeable about this platform. As you guys just heard there, Clover bringing up some really great points and Rob doing the same earlier on. So I want to thank the both of you here as well. Now, I did tease out something a little bit earlier. I am running into some technical issues, so I'm going to save that for the next stream, but I promise it will be ready, and I think it'll be well worth the wait. I think the very last thing I want to do is just jump into a little bit of speculation, right? Just for some fun here. So I think this was Rob that mentioned this earlier. We got an interesting tweet that came in from Mickey, right, with respect to some sort of node installed on an Android phone. Now, there was so much that like was decoded from the community here. I know last time Rob had actually asked me to play back a video, and I paused it like at a particular timestamp, and then Rob started pointing out all these logos and all these things that he noticed. And I'm trying to take that sort of approach now when World Mobile is posting content, because you kind of have to read between the lines sometimes. So this states install an Air node, connect it, and earn daily crypto rewards. No magical internet money, just real world revenue for providing services to the World Mobile Network. This, I mean, ties right back over into what we talked about earlier with Scan for Points, right? Being able to contribute to the network, but then be rewarded for that. Now, a couple of things that stood out before I get to the question there highlighted in red. One of the first things that I personally noticed were some of the different locations within this actual screen grab, right? So we've got testing location Turkey, we've got testing location Nigeria, right? And I think there was one more location here. Let's see, Philippines are at the bottom. Again, I'm no detective, but I don't think that World Mobile has any public air nodes or any information about working and deploying in these areas. So to see this here again, we're completely speculating, but it was just eye opening to see like those three countries listed here. Could that be where World Mobile goes to next? Potentially. But then, in addition to that, there was a question here that I wanted to quickly highlight as well. So it states here: do you need, or will you need to have an Earth node to actually run some sort of node directly from your mobile device? To which Mickey answers no. However, this node will utilize Earth nodes exclusively. So then this kind of raised another question in my head, will something like this also be an additional way to benefit as an Earth node NFT holder, where somebody's able to spin up a mobile node that's somehow tied back to your Earth node NFT, to where they earn from running a mobile node. You as an Earth node operator also earn from hosting some of these mobile nodes. And it's almost kind of, again, like a win-win, right? Where World Mobile gets more nodes out there. You now have new operators that would have never existed if it wasn't for the use of the mobile node. And then you now have Earth node operators also benefiting from operating their Earth node. So again, so much utility. Again, complete speculation here, but I would love to get your guys' thoughts around all of this. So I know we just heard from Rob. Maybe we turn it over to you, Clover, first, and then we'll come to you, Rob, for a little bit of a teaser, just what your thoughts are around that.
Yeah, just a lot of speculation in this tweet. And I honestly have no idea what this tweet is about. I know that Mickey posted a few days later that he's pumped. He maybe is talking about this specific thing, maybe not. But I'm actually surprised after this tweet that the floor price didn't explode on these Earth nodes, man. It's just crazy what the amount of utility that's currently being built for these Earth nodes and what they're going to be doing for the network. But in general, if I'm just speculating here, this all these countries might be just locations where people would be able to run this specific thing on the Android device, the specific node. Um, you know, in general, these are most likely going to be testing locations where that specific node that you're going to be able to run from your Android device. So yeah, I have no idea what this is about, but I would love to learn more about it. I have my eyes peeled, and as you have on the screen there, someone asked about if you're going to be needing a Earth node for this, and Mickey says that that you won't be able to you won't be able to need an Earth node for this. However, it's going to be a Earth node utility exclusively. So I like the fact that the team is, building um, utility for us certain node operators and extra income, and I'm really excited to learn more about what this is going to be. Just because when you really think about it, there is about I would say like 3 times more Android users than iOS users, especially in these listed developing countries. When you go outside of developed countries, most people they really can't afford iOS devices. So and they're a lot of people are, they're running on Android just because Android, it's a little bit more affordable. But yeah, so it's cool to see, all these things that are going to come on an Android device. And just keep your phone on, turn it on, and install this node, and earn rewards for turning on your phone, even though most people keep their phones on 24/7. It's always charged. At least my phone is, always charged. So that's going to be interesting to see. I would love to learn more about this for sure.
Yeah, I think this is one of the key things that we'll probably get a ton of questions about in the next community space. If you guys are not aware, the team does host community spaces. I think it's once per month. I haven't seen any announcements surrounding the one that should be coming up very soon. As soon as I do, they'll be making sure to release some content around that. Now, Rob, we've got Kristen and Steve Corn Pops. They're chatting in the live chat about your grin, right? What are your thoughts here when it comes to what we could be seeing here in this tease from Mickey?
Well, again, you mentioned at the beginning of the space that there was an ambassador call, and basically all that means is we get the information sometimes an hour, sometimes a day, sometimes a week before they announce it. But usually, what they do is they tease in those calls. They don't tell us everything. I don't know the details. I don't know how this node works, but there was some teasers and some things to um, not financial advice for anybody, okay? But I've really drained my ADA from my stake pool to buy more Earth nodes and since Rare Evo, because I've been so excited about it. So my not I don't want to talk about my finances at all, but my ADA balance is pretty far down. During this call, I it might not seem like a lot. Maybe it's a lot for some, not for others. I swapped 1,000 ADA for WMT during this ambassador call as Mickey was talking about stuff. I got really, really excited. Okay. Again, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not saying do that. Maybe that was the stupidest idea ever, but I'm pumped. I am so freaking excited about this. We talked about the scan for points on the app, right? Right now, that's on the Android. That's going to be coming to the iOS app. So you'll be able to scan for points. This is going to be something that's going to be separate. I'm not really sure how it works and what it's going to do. I don't know if it's going to be like a hotspot kind of a thing or a information gathering data kind of a thing. But this is going to be you're going to want to have a separate phone for this. So if your only phone is an Android, you're going to want another one. And I don't think it needs to be a high powered one. I don't think you need the Galaxy 23 or whatever. I have a Google Pixel 5 that I bought for $160 on Amazon. I think it might have been refurbished. They're going to provide a list just like they do for the Esim, on the Esim site. They say, hey, here are the phones that will handle this. They're once this is ready, they're going to provide it, but you're going to basically have an unlocked phone that you're going to put on some proprietary information for, and you're going to be able to operate the World Mobile Network in whatever way that this is meant to work from that phone. So that's why I mentioned earlier having that second phone. I don't know if you'll be able to have the World Mobile app on here to scan for points with this as well, or if this is going to be a hotspot node, or what this is going to be. But you're gonna have a separate phone for this. This is not going to be your primary phone. It's going to be a way to bring in some additional funds, some income, some points, or some tokens, or I'm not sure what yet. But this will be a revenue generator if you have the ability and you set it up. And they'll show you how to do that. Additionally, this is going to be something that's going to tie in. The more people do this, the more traffic's going to come to the Earth node operators by way of the Earth node. So this is again another benefit that they're working on a couple of different ways to get more traffic onto the Earth nodes once Aya is going. And we can't really talk about what all that means yet or how they're going to do it, but there are going to be a lot of different ways. It's not going to be just strictly from what's going through the air nodes and the World Mobile users, their telecom usage. There's going to be outside sources, bigger opportunities. Aya is going to be big. The Earth node is going to be processing a lot of information, and they're limited to 1,000. this is going to tie directly into the Earth nodes. And so it's going to give more traffic for the Earth node operators. The more traffic, the more uptime they have, the better the revenue generation. The more you're going to be able to do with this node, the more traffic you get, or the more uptime you have with these cell phone nodes, the more that you're going to be able to generate from the sharing economy. So again, like I mentioned with the scan for points with people with Android phones, there are opportunities within the sharing economy, whether you are a multimillionaire or you're a paycheck to paycheck guy. You're going to be able to benefit from this network while benefiting the network. And that's just huge. Again, the thinking for this is so outside the box. Um, it's I'm fired up. I can't I don't even know all the details of it. I don't. I wish I did. I still probably wouldn't be able to share anything, but I do know that a lot more information is going to be coming out about this soon. And you mentioned the three countries you saw in the screenshot. I saw that too when people were posting, and I was like, hey, I'm onto something. But then I noticed there's already like 15 tweets about it. Other people noticed those countries. I will say that in the ambassador call, they started listing off a couple of countries where there's going to be some additional deployments soon, and a couple of the countries on that list may have been a couple of the countries that Mickey slipped up on. So I think we're going to see, one of my predictions that we made before the new year. What do we want to see in 2024? I talked about I'd like to see X amount of users, and I said it might mean that we were deploying in multiple additional countries. That's going to happen. I think we're going to see deployment in additional countries. I think we're going to see opportunities come up for the different um, the different things that they're releasing here. And again, if I knew more, I've begged Emmanuel, the web 3 cat that's on here. I've been sending him private messages begging for information. He just laughs at me, you know. But I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I am extremely excited about this. If my Google Pixel 5 phone that I bought for Scan for Points, if that won't cut it when the time comes for these nodes, I'm going to buy a bigger one. I'm going to buy a better one, because I believe there's going to be an opportunity there, and I want to do everything I can to support this network.
Wonderful, wonderful way to wrap up that session. As we are getting closer to the end here, we got a question coming in from Kristen. Where can we read about what Rob is talking about? So a lot of that is behind closed doors. Again, both of them here joining me are World Mobile ambassadors, so they're chatting directly with the team about some things. They are under NDAs, which means that they can't share a lot of that with us. But as the team gets ready to finalize that, Kristen, definitely make sure to follow all of the official platforms that World Mobile controls in order to get that information as soon as it comes out. All right, we've got some words of encouragement coming in from Jeff towards Rob. Yeah, like I said, man, this is why I like doing these chats with these guys. It's just a really, number one, let me just kind of break this out from a content creator standpoint. When I'm live streaming by myself, not only do I have to monitor comments, figure out what I'm talking about, and then navigate everything. It's so much easier for me to do this when I've got these two gentlemen on. So I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to ramble here. I did want to just quickly add one other thing though, because what Rob was talking about was just the utility and even Clover that these Earth nodes are going to have. So earlier we were chatting a little bit about the NFTs themselves, right? So I took a look at jpeg.store and they've got an interesting analytics tab here, which kind of shows the depth of the NFTs, but then also the holder distribution. So I wanted to just quickly point one thing out before we jump into closing comments here for the stream. So we've got one wallet that holds 129 Earth Node NFTs. If I'm not mistaken, that is a wallet controlled by the team. There were some Earth nodes that were not sold or that weren't claimed, I should say, that the team still has control over. Now, again, it's not a whopping amount, and hopefully those do kind of go back out into circulation as the team figures out what to do with them. But what I really want to highlight, though, was we have the next wallet with the most amount of EN NFTs at 14, then 10, then 8, 7, and 5. If we take a look at the holder distribution here, right, 70% of the Earth Node NFTs that have gone out to the community are singles, right? So that means that wallet only owns one EN NFT. What this tells me is that there's not going to be a lot of additional sell pressure moving forward. If there is sell pressure, it's people that are getting out of the world mobile economy, right? If we actually had the chart kind of facing the other way, where we had like a high number of wallets holding more than one NFT, then that would kind of tell me, hey, you could probably get ready for some of these people that own more than one to kind of dump or sell at a profit and just maybe, work their way down to only owning one. But the fact that 70% of the existing wallets right now only hold one, again, tells me that the majority of these people that do hold, if they were to sell, that would be their majority stake in World Mobile basically going out the window. So again, speculation, we only have 1% listed, only 9 out of 1,000 listed, right? And out of the 1,000, over 700 of them are owned by a single person or only contained in a single wallet. So interesting thing I wanted to note there, I don't see a lot of sell pressure coming down for these EN NFTs, and I only see more and more utility being teased out by the team. So again, you guys do the math, not financial advice, right? But if you are an owner of these EN NFTs, I think that you're in for a wild ride as things launch on the main net. So we have been going for an hour and 15 minutes. Steve, I've been rambling. I ramble all the time by myself. This is the time to share my platform. I appreciate the words of encouragement here, but I'll take a breather and I'll just kind of guide the conversation. I think it's time for closing comments, guys. We've got quite the crowd tuning in. We've touched on a lot. We've talked a little bit about the EN NFTs. We've jumped into the dev diary that was just released. We talked about WMT scan. We did a little bit of speculation. But now let's just give the community here some of our closing thoughts as we get ready for the next live stream and just World Mobile generally speaking. So typically we have Rob go last. Maybe this time we'll have Clover close us out. So Rob, the closer, any sort of closing thoughts you want to share with the community?
This is like the middle relief coming in, the middle relief pitcher. So I'm going to set Cal up. How about that? Little baseball reference there. There's so many things that World Mobile is doing right now. There's so many things going on behind closed doors that we don't know about, and they'll tease little things out and we can speculate. And I'm going to tell you right now, the things that I thought about in my head, the things that I'm dreaming about and thinking, where could this go? When I finally get some clarification on those things I've been thinking about, I'm way off because I have under imagined. I think that what World Mobile is putting out right now this is just, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. It's, oh, by the way, the water's a little bit cold. There might be an iceberg in there. I'll say this, and they didn't tell us what it was, right? They didn't tell us who it was. There is a partnership. And Cal and I basically we got on the phone as soon as we got done with this call. We talked for an hour, close to, speculating. What does this mean? There is a partnership coming that is going to be massive, and it's going to take this up multiple levels. And this isn't one of those silly crypto partnerships like you hear, hey, we're partners with this group today. We're partners with this group today. Partnership means nothing. I joked one time on X about my stake pool. I said, by the way, Trek Pool is now partnered with Walmart. And what that means is any Trek Pool customers or any Trek Pool delegators can go to Walmart and pick out items they want and then pay money for them. Yay. That's what partnerships seem to mean in crypto space. And everyone's a partner with everybody, and none of it means anything. World Mobile has legitimate partners. They're not looking at the little crypto companies to do little things for feel good stuff. They're looking at national and international players at every level, at every possible type of business enterprise that could benefit telecoms. And so what they're doing when World Mobile says they have a partner, this is a legitimate player. When they say that the GSMA is partnered with World Mobile, GSMA is like internationally renowned. It is the group for mobile, for telecoms, and they picked World Mobile as their partner. In Vegas, they had the big conference right before NFT Las Vegas. World Mobile had their own little standard kiosk there. They also had a second booth with the GSMA. They were there with the agency, with the organization as their as their partner group. So when we say that there's a big partner coming for World Mobile that they're going to be announcing hopefully in the next, I don't know, soon, um, it's big. It's real big. And for what they're doing with the Earth nodes, the Earth, they're going to get big. The crypto side of things is not taking a back seat. In fact, it's being vaulted to the forefront. This DPIN movement that we're on right now, this is humongous. This is revolutionary. And World Mobile is being mentioned in all the articles and all the things, and they haven't launched yet. They really haven't. They've had some test markets. We're doing some things. We're getting ready. This is going to explode. Again, I love what World Mobile is doing with finding ways for the sharing economy to benefit people. It's going to benefit people that want to buy in and they want to invest in earth nodes and air nodes. People that want to, I look at it this way. When I was out of high school, I went to another country. I was a missionary. I spent time and that's what I was doing in Pakistan. I spent time in Pakistan. Traveled all around. I taught at a school. I was 18, 19 years old. I could do that, right? Some folks, they're getting to that retirement age where the kids are out of the house and they're retired from their job and they can devote time to go work at a missionary, an orphanage or something like that. A lot of folks are in the in between where they're just getting married or they have kids or their kids are young, their kids are in sports doing things. So what tends to happen when people want to help change the world or do good for the world? You throw money at a nonprofit, right? Hey, I'm doing my part. Here's my tax write off. Throwing money at, let them go do good. World Mobile allows people that if you have some money, if you want to invest, it's a way to make it as an investment. I believe, not financial advice for anybody else, but it's a way to potentially benefit financially. But knowing that you are doing things that are changing the world, you're changing lives. Just by, like we talked about, by paying your phone bill when that becomes an option, it's going to give World Mobile a bigger footprint. You're going to change lives. You're able, what we're doing here, you're going to be able to, if you want to sit back in your house, right? You want to just, this is the best way to invest. This is the best way to get involved. And there's so many different options there. You don't have to go and leave your house or leave your country or give up everything you have to do things to go and try and change the world. You just have to believe in this company because they're doing it, and the people that are involved are doing it. The guys up in Washington State, they're changing their community. Mav 100 is changing their community because they're giving coverage to places where they're surrounded by mountains that aren't going to get the signals. They're not getting the same benefits that Seattle's getting because there's a mountain range in between them. What's happening in these other locations? They're launching first in Reno, and Reno, as we discussed a couple weeks ago, has the worst broadband signal in the entire country. They're finding places where they're making a difference. There wasn't connectivity in Tanzania, in Mozambique, in Zanzibar. They're if you looked at the map of Pakistan, those 72 new nodes, different suburbs, different neighborhoods, different locations, they're spreading out. They're making a difference. We're able to be a part of that. And that's what really fires me up. And then you listen to it, it's like, hey, not only am I bought into this, not only am I invested in this emotionally, financially, then you're seeing what they're doing. And you're seeing, you know what? I've made the right call. I mean, how many times have we jumped into an NFT project? Hey, I hope this thing moons, and it goes to zero. You're like, ah, crap. This is something where you can feel good about it. It's doing something good, but you also know that if you're looking from that financial benefit angle, I believe there's something there. And maybe that was kind of the wrong rant on the wrong topic, but I'm extremely fired up about what's happening here, how they're doing it, and how we all have the ability, no matter our situation, no matter our financial situation, our family situation, we can be a part of it in some way.
Nicely said. I think it was very well on topic. Just to kind of elaborate before I turn it over to Clover Notes for his closing thoughts. You mentioned some really, really good things there. The first thing that I just kind of had to write down was, you're right, World Mobile has struck really big partnerships. I think they've struck some small ones, but as you mentioned, the GSMA Foundry, that was a huge one. Vodacom not too long ago. And I actually see Cal repping a nice piece of swag there, right? Supporting Fulham. So soccer club as well. So again, these guys aren't just partnering up with other crypto projects, and just kind of an echo chamber style partnership. They're expanding to people outside of crypto, and again, that's even what their product is doing. It's branching outside of just the crypto ecosystem. And then to the very last thing that you said, anybody can get involved, and so that's what I really like about this as well. you know if you don't have the ability to be those boots on the ground, doing the heavy lifting, doing the installations, you can get involved by just going as far as just staking your WMT. You can operate an Earth node, you can operate an Air node, and that's also going to create additional economies, as we talked about, right? Where Rob has aspirations, I believe even Clover as well, right? To run um, businesses, or to run services, or to provide services, right, to do some of these installations. So again, if you just have the finances, you can contribute to this network as well. Again, not financial advice, but I wanted to just quickly touch on those points that you mentioned. Really, really great outro. Over to you, Clover Notes, batter up, your turn.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if I'm the such closer like Rob is, but Rob Robbie touched on some excellent points right there, and
All you have to do is just talk really fast and let your voice go up and down a little bit so people think you have something important and some inflection there. Doesn't matter what you say, just talk fast.
It's funny. I'm not the fast talker, but it's funny. We have with the Earth Node Alliance space that we do every other weekend with Rob, and I love when Rob closes us out, with the Earth Node Alliance space, because he just has such good talking points. But reverting back to the partnerships, I'm gonna touch up on, it's just the amount of stuff we've seen that come out from World Mobile in 2023. I'm 100% confident that the partnerships that are gonna come in 2024 is gonna blow everyone outside the water. And not only partnerships, but seeing what excellent job World Mobile has done with the sharing economy in Africa, and seeing the partner in Pakistan roll out in such speed. I'm 100% confident that once we see the OPAN launch here in the United States, things are gonna start getting real fun and interested. And I'm excited about a lot of different things. I'm excited about the Esim integration in the Android device. I'm excited about the DID extension that's going to allow everyone everywhere to be, joining this economy, and enjoying all the services that we're going to be getting as Earth node operators, or maybe even Air node operators. I'm excited about the iOS app, and there's just lots of great things coming. I mean, I did a video of all the interesting things I found out about World Mobile in 2023, and just looking back of how much this team has has been able to accomplish in just 1 year with a team of just 100 people. Like, you gotta think about these things. Like, there's companies out there with thousands of people on board that are not even close to making the things that World Mobile is able to achieve in just 1 year. And the amount of development that's happening with the IA chain, the amount of things that are going to come out with the IA chain, and like Rob said, all the deep end narrative right now that's kind of gaining traction and speed. I mean, World Mobile is honestly, like, in my opinion, the leader of that. With just the amount of users and air nodes being deployed on the weekly basis. So very exciting times ahead. Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone that's here joining us today. I would love to see other Earth node operators, or even maybe community members, or people that are maybe someone from the team wants to join, or someone that's responsible for the Reno rollout, just to share some of the aspects and some of the things that they're facing there. So yeah, just very excited for what's coming, and for the future that World Mobile is building in front of us. And I'm excited to be part of the sharing economy because I know it's going to be big, and then I know it's going to be great. So thank you again for everyone, and wishing you a beautiful weekend.
Clover, baby closer. I love it. I love it. Thank you for the awesome closeout there. You touched on the deep pin narrative, which I think the World Mobile team is very well set to lead and benefit from. Again, just getting our name in the conversation, I think, will be the biggest part. But once people are exposed to World Mobile, they can see the team, they can see the delivery, they can see the progress. I don't think that they're going to have any choice but to buy in. Again, this team is not doing anything for show. We're seeing the numbers grow. We're seeing the network grow. We're seeing the community grow, and that's hopefully what we're doing here. Helping to grow the entire sharing economy. So we're going to close this out with a quote from none other than the man himself, Mr. Telecoms, where he states, "2023 was epic. 2024 is going to be even more so. Together, we are unstoppable." Ladies and gentlemen, that will bring us here to the end for today's live stream. Again, joined by Clover Notes and Rob. Make sure to go ahead and give them a follow. Their official Twitter handles are down below in the video description. This was a blast, like it always is. So I'm looking forward to the next one. This will be held bi-weekly as some of these bigger updates do come in. If you guys maybe want to just chat about them before we have these chats, make sure to go ahead and tune into the X Spaces that Clover and Rob host on every week that we aren't here live on YouTube. So we'll see you guys in about 14 days. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Again, Web3 Cat, I would love to get you here on the channel. I know you're not feeling too well right now, but I think you'd be an awesome contributor to this. We had Rick Middleton on last week. That was a really awesome show. Getting some love here from the community. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, EarthPath. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Ben Chicken. Thank you, Jefferson. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in. That will do it here. Again, if you guys found this particular video to be helpful, we'd appreciate if you guys could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by Dab Central and you want more videos and live streams like this covering the latest builders, including World Mobile, consider subscribing to the channel. And last but not least, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. And as always, we'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.